If I asked you where is the best park in the US, would you think of Central Park in New York? Or perhaps Grant Park in the Second City, or even the beautiful Lincoln Park next door? Maybe you're into more of the West Coast vibes and thinking about LA's Griffith Park with its famous observatory giving you some of the best views you can have of any major city. Or San Francisco's Golden Gate Park, or even San Diego's Balboa Park. What if I told you that there was a new park that opened in 2018 that was voted Best City Park by USA Today? A city park containing some of the most unique attributes that have made this place a local sensation. This place was ahead of its time when it created some of the first land bridges anywhere in the US to connect both sides of the park. This park is so large that it feels more like a theme park, and thus why it has a map showing you the many interesting sections in this place, such as an area mimicking regional rock formations, or a stunningly beautiful boathouse that offers a variety of water activities and even a beach, believe it or not. How about a maze of mirrors, or what even seems to be a playground on steroids? This park is so captivating that it has made this city more of a regional destination. In this place, you can even find a museum celebrating some local man-made and natural history. Because of its sheer size and the many different routes going in various directions, as well as the many pedestrian bridges, this place oftentimes feels more like a labyrinth, which does add to the intrigue of this place. This park even has a brand new pedestrian bridge that goes over one of the largest rivers in the US, creating some fantastic views. And included in this is a brand new dam that was built about the same time as the pedestrian bridge that has now created a lake, making this city a waterfront city. To top it off, this park is free to visit, and that is why it is often so full that people sometimes have to line up to find parking. So join me in this episode as we discover the sensational attraction of the Gathering Place. So where is this park, you ask? Good question. It is located in a city that was once known to be the oil capital of the world. So much so that they have even erected one of the tallest statues in the US showing this off. The oil wealth that was accumulated during the first part of last century is evident in the amount of Art Deco architecture you find in this city. Not to mention an overall pretty impressive downtown for a city of its size, as well as one of the most beautiful event centers in the US. Oh, and by the way, with almost 30 miles of the Mother Road, this city has been named the capital of Route 66. Alright guys, we are at a very interesting monument here at the intersection of Riverside and Southwest Highway. Tulsa has declared itself, or has been declared, basically the centerpiece, or even basically the capital of Route 66, being that if you look on the map, you will see that Tulsa is pretty much right in the middle. And these are all the flags of the different states that Route 66 passes through, being that it started from Chicago and went all the way to California, to Los Angeles, Santa Monica, to be more exact, fueling the immigration about a century ago to California. You can definitely see how much this route is celebrated throughout the city. In my opinion, it is worth visiting the city just for the different things that they have set up along this route, such as some very locally famous figures that might give you the idea that this city has an obsession with building statues. Or the abundance of beautiful art that you find along this route. Not to mention what has been rated one of the best food halls in this country. Believe it or not, this city has a history of producing music, and that is why there is an area containing a row of studios. This area culminates in the famous church studio, which was established by songwriter, musician, and producer Leon Russell. This place was basically a church turned into a studio and now serves as a museum. Believe it or not, this city is one of the few cities outside of Reno and Las Vegas to have major casinos inside its metro area. This, of course, gives you many more entertainment options such as gaming and more shows. We can keep on going about the many things that this city has to offer, but let's not get sidetracked. After all, we are here to check out what has been rated the best city park in the US. For this, we start in downtown Tulsa and travel roughly 1.5 miles southbound along the Arkansas River on Riverside Drive. Doing this, we go through the iconic tunnels that go underneath the land bridges that connect both sides of the gathering place. We also pass by the many parking options you have in this park. As soon as I parked the car, I decided to start on the southern side at the Four Seasons Garden. This way I could slowly make my way north to the larger side of the park. Alright guys, we start our tour of the gathering place here on the very southern tip of it called the Four Seasons Garden. I call this the little forgotten area because every time I've been through this part, I rarely ever see people, mainly because it is kind of isolated from the rest of the park, but it is still beautiful nevertheless, and I find it a very good place to start. And as you can see in this area, you have a lot of what looks like to be boulder-like structures to mimic nature. You see that a lot in this place. This park, to me, and from what it seems, is a lot about mimicking nature and urbanism at the same time. From what I read, this part of the park is supposed to mimic natural sandstone formations in Oklahoma. And keep in mind that this is just a very small part of the park, just to kind of give you an idea of how massive this place is. The gathering place was opened in 2018 as a project of the George Kaiser Family Foundation and was supposedly the biggest private gift to ever be given to a community park in US history. We finally exit out of the Four Seasons Garden, and as we do so, we come across the Helmerich Sky Garden, which is a dome-like park on top of one of the land bridges. Believe it or not, this is actually a bridge over Riverside Drive. That's the beauty of land bridges. It gives you kind of that privacy. It almost makes you feel like there is no road nearby. It preserves nature without disrupting the efficiency of the urban road network. And now we're officially on the other side of Riverside, and we will be crossing that bridge later on in the episode, so stay tuned. This is a brand new bridge, as well as the dam that has now made this city officially a waterfront city. So this is a big deal for this city. All right, so we go back over Riverside to the main side of the park, so I can show you guys what to me is one of the most beautiful parts of the park. One of them, because there's many others that I will show you afterward. On the way, we will run by some playgrounds. Of course, this is a very family-oriented city, at least in my opinion. And so the park has a lot of family-friendly activities. As we continue our trek northward on the main side of the gathering place, we head towards the boathouse, which is one of my favorite parts of the park. But before we arrive there, we go over the Garden Path Bridge. This bridge goes over a pathway that on one side turns into that beautiful new pedestrian bridge that we saw earlier going over the Arkansas River, and on the other side to a parking lot to allow people to access this bridge. Shortly after, we finally arrive to the boathouse, which is one of the main focal points of the park. Now also keep in mind, one of the reasons why we're not seeing that many people, because this is being recorded in early September 2024. So the weather happened to be pretty hot today. All right, guys, we're coming upon my favorite part, or one of my favorite parts of the park, and that is the boathouse. As we enter this majestic structure from the back, we see a long list of donors that made this park happen. And seeing such a long list of donors to this project, which is supposedly the largest private project to ever be donated to a community park, gives you an idea of the amount of philanthropy in this city. After passing through this area, we arrive at the very beautifully designed elevated part of the boathouse, which gives you some of the most stunning views of the park. There are two ways we can go down, either by stairs, which has a phenomenal view, or there's even like a little museum inside. That's what I call it. That's what it is practically. But what we will do is we'll go down the stairs and then come back up the museum. You can definitely see why they call this the boathouse. And now it was time to enter what I call the little museum of the park. And as we enter, we see things like handmade canoes in the local native style. As well as displays about the park and other local attractions. After we pass through another set of doors, we enter the Cabinet of Wonder, which is a collection of many interesting things, including pieces about nature as well as historical artifacts. As this place seems keen on piquing your curiosity, you may want to check out what exists in the drawers and cabinets. It was now time to move on from this place to another very interesting part of the park that I think you guys will like. And with this last view, we say goodbye to the Cabinet of Wonder. We continue our journey northward, passing over the Kingport Bridge, which crosses Peggy's Pond and offers spectacular views of the boathouse, especially at nighttime. Alright guys, after passing this bridge, we're going to come to this next part, which is the Adventure Playground, which of course I'm not a big playground person myself. The things that I have seen in this particular playground are astounding, are mind-blowing actually. I don't think I've seen things like this unless you're talking about like a theme park where you have rides. You can definitely tell a lot of ingenuity was put into this section with all the massive towers with ramps connecting these towers and even paths that go over bathrooms. Talk about a good use of space. The gathering place went even as far as creating very large replicas of animals, which creates a very interesting ambiance. As we continue exploring this section, we see another of the many bridges that exist in this park, as well as the many windy pathways that give this park its labyrinth feel.
there are a lot of many other little parts like here, Skywalk Forest. Again, this park has so many components to it. I probably will not be able to even show you all the pieces, but just to kind of give you an idea of how much work, how much money, how much creativity was put into this place.
As we continue discovering the gathering place, we come across one of a few signs that proudly display USA Today's rating of this park. As well as a section called the Sensory Garden with its very interesting maze of mirrors. Might I add, a maze of a more natural type and even outdoor instruments. Please don't judge my musical talent or lack thereof. After this, we get to one of the other focal points of the park, and that is Williams Lodge. Arriving to the lodge, we see the very beautiful patio outside, but in my opinion, the inside is even more beautiful with its very intricate woodwork. So let's go inside and check it out.
This place is put together so professionally that they even have maps, just like a theme park. Check this out.
This map shows the many sections of the gathering place. And aside from the stunning woodwork, the lodge offers many other things such as bathrooms and even a TV that shows you an overall overview of the park, as well as what went into creating it. And areas to sit back and relax with nice views, as well as a cozy environment with beautiful woodwork on the ceiling. The lodge contains another plaque representing the donors who made this park happen, as well as a pretty nice coffee shop on the lower level. This coffee shop even contained a gift shop selling many of the usual things such as t-shirts representing the city and the park, and even more novel products such as a Monopoly game representing the city. A matcha cheers to this magnificent place and to the visionary philanthropists that made it happen. We fast forward the clock to another day to gain daylight, and we exit the lodge to an adjacent area called Mist Mountain. This area consists of rock-like formations as well as other attributes like this very beautiful koi pond and these very interesting water projectiles. And other water-related features like what seem to be streams etched into the rock formations. And even running water along the handrail, which is something I did not expect. As you can tell by its name, Mist Mountain is one of the many elevated areas within the gathering place, which gives you some nice views, even of the waterfall that you find within this place. The adjacent waterfront areas are also worth checking out.
All right, we're gonna come down those stairs. And once again, just the creativity. Look at all the running water everywhere. They could have made this straight, but they turned it into this shape. They just really put a lot of thought process into the aesthetics to keep people stimulated. Believe it or not, it's small things like this that often makes a difference between a place looking boring and stimulating. Shapes and colors really do stimulate the mind. So I feel like there was a lot of psychology psychological studies that was put into this park. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm right about that. There are definitely a lot more people here than the other day, the first day.
They will try to get there.
From here, we say goodbye to the lodge and Mist Mountain and start heading over towards what I think is the most spectacular part of this experience. And that is crossing the brand new pedestrian bridge over one of the largest rivers in the US. On the way, we will be going around Peggy's Pond, as well as pass by the beach area and some other interesting parts of the park, as you will see.
On the northern end, I did a little side tour to the parking lot just to show you guys how crowded this place gets. It has definitely become a destination. It's a little hard to see the sign, but this is the entrance to the gathering place. And if you look again, look at the traffic. Still people trying to come here in the late afternoon. All right, guys, as we come to the other side of Peggy's Pond, on the western side of the northern edge of this pond, we come across the beach area that we saw. And this beach is called Willow Beach. Geez, I wonder why. All right, as we head southward towards the bridge, we come across another really cool slide area. It actually has also like a little hill where slides come down. Great place for families. Again, one thing that I love about this park is how they created a lot of very beautiful topography. They added a lot of hills to give it that beauty, that appeal.
The cool thing about this area is you can go uphill through this windy path to enter the slide from the back. And right after Slidevale, we come across one of the last areas before reaching the bridge, and that is the Great Lawn. This is one of the largest open grassy areas in the park with elevation changes that make it very suitable for events. Shortly after the lawn, we get to the hill that you see in front of us, which happens to be one of the land bridges over Riverside Drive to get to the river and, of course, the very beautiful pedestrian bridge. We finally arrived to Williams Crossing, the new pedestrian bridge over the mighty Arkansas. As soon as we start crossing the bridge, we get a view of the downtown area in the distance, as well as the new lake that was created by Zinc Dam that has made the city a waterfront city. And to the left, looking south, we see Tulsa's new wave park, which was created from the downflow of the river on the eastern side of the dam. I walk a little bit further out to get a more extensive view of the eastern banks of the Arkansas River, as well as of the gathering place, to get a better appreciation of how massive this park is. As we continue our walk across the bridge, I will accelerate it a little bit since we have the sun on our face to enjoy better views coming back. And from what I estimate, the length of this bridge is roughly 4 to 6 blocks. We finally reached the end of the bridge where we come across the path on the western side of the river. It was now time to walk back to enjoy the bridge and the views from a different perspective. And the views from this side are spectacular, and even better in my opinion when the bridge is lighted up. The Arkansas River is one of the major rivers in the U.S., along with other notable rivers such as the Mississippi, the Missouri, the Ohio, the Columbia, and even the Colorado River. This river is roughly 1,500 miles long and starts in Colorado, goes through Kansas and Oklahoma before finally dumping into the Mississippi River in Arkansas. As we get close to the end, we get a better view of Tulsa's Wave Park, along with the downflow of the river going into the park, creating rapids. And one thing that I feel is a must-do after walking this pedestrian bridge is to come down to the Wave Park to get a view of this magnificent new bridge, as well as to observe the beautiful rapids created in this park, which is quite aesthetically beautiful. Keep in mind that even though I came back a second day, this place is so big and so intricate that I did not get a chance to show you everything, just to give you an idea of how much this park has to offer. But I was lucky, however, to catch the sun setting inside the arches of this beautiful bridge. Much respect to city leaders and philanthropists that go out of their way to make their city more beautiful and livable.